A U.S. military boss discloses Trinidad and Tobago's concerns about ISIS. And in sport, rookie West Indies batsman Shemron Hetmeyer says batting with Chris Gayle was a dream come true. I'm Ricardo Roberts and this is Caribbean in 10 for Wednesday, March 7th. I'll be back with the details after the break.
So, but you've been working on this sort of research for your entire lifetime, as far as I can see, Carl, both as an architect and an urban planner and an advocate and a writer. Was there anything new revealed in what's happened this year?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was new, but it was kind of a wake-up call. I mean, we just recently in Northern California experienced
Spread half a cup of mango puree over the first cake layer, and this is just sweet, ripe mangoes that I've pureed in my blender. Spread half a cup of frosting onto the second layer. Now place it frosting side down onto the first layer so the cream and mango are essentially hugging. Repeat this process with the next two layers.
A United States Navy admiral says the Trinidad and Tobago government is concerned about the number of its nationals who have gone to fight alongside members of ISIS in recent years. Kurt Tidd addressing the issue at a Pentagon briefing at which he said U.S. Southern Command, of which his commander, is strengthening interagency cooperation and partnerships in the region to address evolving security threats such as terrorism. He spoke specifically about Trinidad when asked by a reporter to indicate what evidence he had that either ISIS cells or networks were within U.S. Southern Command's areas of responsibility, which are Central America, the Caribbean, and South America. He said he knew that the government of Trinidad and Tobago had spoken of 100 foreign fighters that have gone to that particular fight, and he was so guessing that would be the best indicator of radicalization in the region. Still in Port of Spain, the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago plans to appeal yesterday's High Court ruling that it has no power to investigate allegations of misconduct against Chief Justice Ivor Archie. In handing down her 19-page ruling, Justice Nadia Kangaloo said LAT acted outside its legal authority in beginning and continuing its inquiry and investigation into claims that Archie tried to persuade judges to change their state-provided security to a private company which would have benefited his friend. The judge also ruled that the Law Association must pay costs to the Chief Justice in the matter. But in an email to members late last night, LAT said the council met and decided to immediately lodge an appeal and an application for an urgent hearing. It said it had been advised to postpone its special general meeting carded for next Thursday, in which a report on the investigation conducted by a subcommittee of council and advice on it from Queen's Counsel Dr. Francis Alexis of Grenada and Eamon Courtney of Belize were expected to be presented for consideration. But it says the council has not yet decided to cancel or postpone the meeting in the hope that the Court of Appeal will hear their appeal before that date. High Court in Antigua and Barbuda has adjourned to tomorrow the hearing of a challenge to the decision of the Antigua and Barbuda Electoral Commission to have voters of Barbuda cast their ballots in the March 21st general election on the mainland. The application was filed last week by Attorney Charles Worcester Tabor on behalf of leader of the Barbuda's People's Movement, Mr. Trevor Walker. Tabor said that after more than an hour of arguments yesterday, Justice Claire Henry adjourned the matter to tomorrow. He said the attorney representing the Electoral Commission argued that the High Court has no jurisdiction to hear the matter because it can only hear matters dealing with the results of an election. Tabor has until this afternoon to respond to that point, but he accused the ABEC attorney of trying to blindside him after he and his client were only provided with the position of the commission minutes before the hearing started. And stay with us, your Midday Sport is next. Rookie West Indies batsman Shimron Hetmyer was understandably thrilled after notching his maiden one-day international 100, but said it was batting with superstar Chris Gayle that had fulfilled one of his childhood dreams. The pair added 103 for the second wicket, a partnership Hetmyer said he had dreamed of as a young boy growing up in Guyana.
It was a fantastic feeling for me. I grew up from the tender age of probably 5 and even younger, watching Chris on television and trying to thinking of the day when I would be accompanying him at the crease as well, and even being there when he got his 100. It was just fantastic.
Hetmyer arrived at the crease after Gayle and Evan Lewis had posted 88 for the first wicket and blossomed after a patient start to strike 14 fours and 4 sixes in an entertaining 93-ball knock. He said he had taken a simple approach to his innings, especially with focusing on hitting the ball straighter.
I said earlier, I just went out to accompany Chris and just tried to rotate the strike as much as possible to him, and at the same time tried to get myself in. And I guess that worked for me. That worked well for me today. I'm just working on it as of late. I'm working on hitting the ball as straight as I possibly can and not trying to go across it. And I guess it worked for me today. I just keep working on it till it hits and getting it as perfect as possible.
Deposed CONCACAF football boss and FIFA Vice President Jeffrey Webb may have to wait a little while longer to know his fate on corruption charges. That's because a U.S. federal court judge for the 7th time granted a request by Webb's attorneys to delay the sentencing hearing. The Caymanian was expected to be sentenced today. He has admitted to racketeering conspiracy, 3 counts of wire fraud conspiracy, and 3 counts of money laundering conspiracy when he was at the helm of the hemispheric football body and at FIFA. Webb, who was at one point tipped to become FIFA president, was one of several high-profile football officials arrested during a pre-dawn raid in Zurich in May 2015 as FIFA staged its annual meeting. He was subsequently included in a 47-count indictment announced by the U.S. Department of Justice, which Trinidadian former Jack Warner, a former CONCACAF chief and powerful FIFA vice president, also named. The sentencing will now take place on September 7th. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.